expand Turning Point's Club America chapters into every high school. He's calling on Texans to report schools that block the development of these chapters, threatening consequences against schools that interfere. Abbott's move follows similar efforts by states like Tennessee and Oklahoma. What impact could the expansion of these clubs have on the young Americans? And what role has Turning Point played in the conservative movement? Joining me now to discuss is Anthony Watson, a TPUSA contributor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Governor Abbott said he sees these clubs as a revival of foundational values on campuses, and he's compared the conservative movement to earlier faith-based groups that once dominated student life. So, Anthony, how significant is it for these chapters to have the state's support?
Well, I wouldn't just say that it's significant. I would say it's crucial, because we look at the state of our country right now, where it's going, and it seems to be declining faster and faster because a lot of people who have the knowledge to impart it to younger people either think they're unqualified, or they think that the next generation coming up behind us now is too dumb to learn anything. But what we've known, and from what I've seen with all the campuses and Club America chapter events that I've personally done for Turning Point and on my own, is that these are young people that are eager and hungry, and you need to harness that to show them how to use all of those skills in the right direction. Everything that we used to talk about of having character and morals and integrity, things that used to be ingrained in education, jobs, all of these things now have separated to now isolate people, because when people are isolated, that's when you can target them a lot easier to now make them into brainwashed robots that you're starting to see spring up everywhere. So the issue that we're having now isn't so much just politics, it's accountability. Because in the heart of a young person, when there's no accountability, then they don't do anything wrong. And when there's nothing that they do that's wrong, then there's no reason for them to listen to authority. And so by us implementing this, it's bringing people back to the basics, because we're not teaching them anything new. We're just teaching them the things that are hard to learn because it's not easy. Well, I tell kids everywhere across the nation, the older you get, situations that you face don't get easier. Your willingness to step up and do them when no one else will is the only thing that does.
Now, the state of Texas is not the first state to align with TPUSA's values. So how far do you expect to see this movement to expand across the different states?
Well, I know it's going to pick up steam. And like anything, with everything that's good, there's always going to come a resistance and a challenge that goes against the mainstream of culture. Because I'm a Christian myself, and in Matthew it says, enter through the narrow gate, because broad is the road and wide is the road that leads to destruction. And it says, many enter through that gate, but it says, narrow is the road that leads to life, and very few find it. So the truth is something that if you want it, you have to look for it. But it's also something that when you find it, you don't let go of it, and you hold on to it with all of your life. And so what we're starting to see now, all it takes is one. So it started in Oklahoma, it went to Tennessee, now it's in Texas. 3 states that have proven through their communities and what they've been doing are now rampant, they're vibrant, and now hopefully it's something that everybody else will now start to take hold of, so that they can now start shifting their states in a positive way through the young people that are going to be the next leaders of our country.
Now, Governor Abbott has called the surge in Club America chapters a value-driven effort to shape the next generation. Now, as someone who's traveled the country with TPUSA colleges and high schools, how are these clubs changing the conversation among students who previously felt like they couldn't openly express their views?
Well, I think the first part that we like to emphasize at Turning Point by starting these clubs is by bringing like-minded people together to find more people that they have with them. Because the saying is true, there are more that are with us than that are against us. And a lot of people now are the ones that are kind of hanging back in the wings and in the shadows, waiting to see who's going to be the first people to step up and actually take charge of that. So by us starting clubs, by us having these things available for students on campus, you first talk to the people who want to be in charge to help run that. Then you help them start a club. Then after the club, you help them do events to now help their chapter grow. The whole purpose of this is to arm students with facts, stats, and data that means something to them. Because I tell everybody, it's not about what you know. Because people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. You have to know what it is that you're fighting for, and they have to be the reasons that make sense to you. It can't be stats that you just heard on the internet. It can't be things that you've read, because until they become real to you, it'll just be something that just fades in a debate if it comes to that. This is your livelihood and your life that you're fighting for. And if this is something that you don't think that's worth investing in, then it doesn't matter how many chapter events that we have, it's always going to be hard to get people in there. This is something that when you lead by example and you actually use these tools to improve your own life, that's when you can now impart that into the lives of your peers around you.
Now, just to expand on this a little, what role has TPUSA played in America's conservative movement overall?
I would say it's played a big part, if not the biggest part, with everything that's happened from this last election to everything that you've seen in high schools and colleges, now even going as far as grade schools through education, through our TPUSA education system that we've had, through TPUSA Faith that we've now had equipping pastors with churches to now make sure that the church now is equipped with everything to know not just to be godly people, but to also be citizens for America. So Turning Point right now has always been, and they will continue to always be invested in the next generation. It started with Charlie Kirk at the young age of 18, who just wanted better taxes for his generation that was coming up. But as the older he got, he realized it was more than just fiscal responsibility and economical advances. It was about spiritual growth, and it was about eternal salvation. So this is what we're now implementing in everything, because we can look out across all of the multitudes of people that come to our events and show up at all of our rallies and show up to our conferences, and we can just see them as people who vote. But when you look at the heart of a person to actually see what they can advance and actually partake and contribute to in the world that we find ourselves in, it's only then that you'll actually start seeing a change happen. And Turning Point, through everything that we've been through and everything that we're going through this past year losing Charlie, we're more determined than ever to keep fighting and to keep pushing forward for the generation that feels like they don't have anyone standing up for them right now.
Now, as you've said, we're already seeing a rapid expansion of this movement, and soon TPUSA will have its first America Fest conference since the death of founder Charlie Kirk. Now, here's his wife, Erica Kirk, speaking on the upcoming conference.
It's going to be massive. We sold out within hours, so we are at max capacity. We have students, families, the best of the best in the industry that are going to be there pouring into everyone.
Now, how significant will this upcoming event be for TPUSA?
Well, the line in the sand has been drawn. So that everyone who's attending, they're all coming for an answer of what's next. And I keep telling everybody, we already know what's next because we know what the issues and challenges are that we have to face. So it's not about what's next. The call that I'm hoping that a lot of people will answer at this conference coming up is who's next? Who's going to pick up the mic? Who's going to take a stand? Who's going to be the next person to actually go out there and actually put themselves out there for everybody else to follow as a leader who's willing to put it all on the line to live the life that they know that they deserve to live in the country that we call home. And I want everyone who comes to America Fest not only to just get lost in the hype of being proud Americans, but also to remember what it is to fight for something, because the reference and the people that we hold in reverence that went before us and sacrificed everything died in warfare for a country that they didn't even get to live in afterwards when the war was over. And I tell everybody, if you don't do it for any reason, do it for this one. If we lose the United States of America, where do we go? So this is a call to action. It's a memorial. It's a time of remembrance. It's a time to get together and to come together to appreciate and love to love Charlie for everything that he's done. But also, it's a reminder that we still have work to do. And we heard it here. We sold out in minutes after telling everyone that they needed to come. So everyone here is eager. Now it's just telling everybody else that we all have a job to do. So if you're coming, come ready to have fun, but also get ready to work when the conference is over.
Now, Anthony, while I have you here, I want to shift to the tragic news we've heard this evening. Multiple people shot at Brown University. You, as well as all your colleagues at TPUSA, know all too well the grief caused by this kind of senseless violence. So, what words would you share with students at Brown this evening?
Well, my only message to them is this, is that it's not a matter of if you're going to die or how you're going to die. The only thing that's guaranteed in life from the time you're born until you've lived to this present day is death itself. And that's not to be morbid. That's not to say anything else. It's to give people a wake-up call to know that our lives aren't guaranteed. We don't know how or when the time will come, but we do know that it's coming. And it's always when something comes out of nowhere that it takes everybody else by surprise to let us know that we're not here forever. So in the time that we have, it's sad that we see what's happening. When mass casualties happen, it's sad and it's tragic. When one person is sorely taken from us, it's one too many. So my message tonight is clear. It's in this holiday season of joy. Be joyful knowing that you have a heavenly Father who loves you and gave himself for you so that even if you meet your end here on earth, you can still enjoy paradise with him afterwards through his son, Jesus Christ. And that's the only message that matters more than anything nowadays. It supersedes politics, it supersedes entertainment, it supersedes anything because the world right now is desperately looking for peace, and that's the only person who can give it to you.
All right, Anthony Watson, thank you so much for that message, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.